Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca. If you haven't been here before, welcome. So today's video is very exciting because it has been something that is in the works, and I will be collaborating with Mary from Books with Tofukado over here on YouTube. So I am very excited to collab with her. I watch all her videos. I'm a big fan. I love hearing her thoughts on books. She's very like horror forward and very experienced in the horror genre versus me, who is like a little horror baby newbie. So we thought it would be really fun to both suggest each other our favorite books and kind of do a little swap and see how we react and how we feel to them. So Mary gave me 3 books that she loves. I gave Mary 3 books that I love. If you want to go watch and see which books I gave Mary, then make sure to head over to her channel. I will make sure to link her down below along with the video that she is posting. I gave Mary a few books that she probably wouldn't have picked up on her own, and she definitely gave me some books that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards, but I'm really trying to expand my interest in genres and expand my book horizons, and so I am really interested in getting more into horror. So I reached out to Mary and asked her what books I should read, and she gave me these 3. So the first book she gave me was Cackle by Rachel Harrison. Then there's Escape and Control by Steve Hollyman. And lastly, there is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. So these are the 3 books that I will be reading in today's video. I'm very excited. Also, before we get into it, if you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, hit the bell notification, comment, all those YouTube-y things. We love to talk about books, thrifting, movies, TV shows, daily life, anything here. So if you like this video, make sure to hang around and subscribe. I'd love to have you. And let's get into the vlog. Hello. Okay, so I wanted to update because I think, yeah, so I'm like 70% of the way through The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, and I've been reading it on my Kindle and also listening to the audiobook like while I read it. I got them both off of like Libby, and I've been really liking it. And look, I decorated the back of my Kindle with some new stickers, so that's what that looks like. It says no shelf control, which, like, true. But yeah, I wanted to update because I'm about to finish it. I'm hoping that I finish it tonight, and I really like it so far. It is very like thrilling and spooky. I actually got kind of like scared last night, and then I was like, well, thank God I don't live alone, because I feel like I'd be really freaked out if I lived alone. But I like it. I think that it's funny because when I started it, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to read this one first. Like, it wasn't calling to me. But like, I think it's because the cover is not my favorite, but the story is actually really, really great and very interesting. It follows like multiple time periods and like multiple POVs, and there's basically like different murders that have happened that you feel like are connected, and you're trying to figure out like, are they connected? How are they connected? But more and more information comes to light, and you're following Fiona. It's 2014, present day or whatever is the one timeline. And Fiona is the main character. She's a journalist. I said Kate before. No, her name's Fiona. One of the girls from the 1950s is named Kate. But basically, I feel like Fiona is kind of like the main character that we're following. Her sister has been murdered, was murdered 20 years ago, and she's trying to figure out what happened, and she's never been able to stop digging and trying to figure out exactly what happened, even though they do have someone who was charged and who was put away in jail. So it's really good. I'm loving it. I don't feel like I'm that much closer to the solution than when I started reading it. So I think that there are definitely some twists and turns happening here. A new character just popped up and I'm like, oh, I feel like this is gonna throw a wrench in what we already know about the characters and the case and what's going on. I like it a lot. It's giving me that feeling of like, I have to turn the next page. I have to keep reading. I have to keep reading. And I love that feeling when I'm reading. So I will update you hopefully when I finish it, but possibly before if something interesting happens. So I am officially almost done with The Broken Girls. I was reading it last night and I got like 90% of the way through, and then I was like, okay, I have to go to bed. I was like, I'm gonna be like so tired if I don't go to bed right now. So I have 10% left, probably even a little bit less than 10%, and I want to finish it out. It's getting really good. There's this part that's just like bringing all the storylines together, which is what you want to see in a book where there's like multiple POVs and lots of different things are going on. And this is it. It is happening. I'm very excited. So I can't tell you too much because I don't want to give you any spoilers. But so far, The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, so good. And like, it makes me even more excited to read the other suggestions that Mary sent me, because not that I wasn't excited for this one, but like, I think I was like the least excited for this one out of the ones that I was like choosing. I said that I would read 3 of them. If I can, I'll read 4. We both switched. We sent each other 5 books each, and we both kind of like chose the ones that we were the most interested in, or possibly the ones that are the shortest, because we're short on time over here. But anyway, so after this one, I believe that I'm going to read Cackle, but I am in the mood for a cozy mystery, so I'm like, I'm going to be happy to read Cackle and like enjoy like the cozy horror vibe. But now I am excited to, what am I saying? I read another book by Rachel Harrison last year. I did really enjoy it. It was like a werewolf horror book. And now this one, Cackle, is more of like a witchy horror book. So I do like Rachel Harrison's writing and I think I will really enjoy it. But also there's a few other books that Mary sent me that I'm really interested in. Like, I'm really interested in Control and Escape, I think it's called. And then I'm also really interested in A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. So I'm like, which one do I read? And then there's one more that I own and I've been wanting to read my physical TBR, so I should really read that one. So anyway, I have a lot of options here and I'm not sure where I'm going after this, but I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna see how I feel and which direction I wanna go in. Cozy horror, horror, 80s funny horror, or cannibal horror. You know, where are we going from here? Okay, I finished it. I finished The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, and I think it had a great ending. I think it wrapped up really well. Like, I don't feel like there's anything left open that I'm like worried about or questioning or wondering like what they're gonna do about. And I don't know, like, I think the story was great. I think that I would give this, I think I'm gonna sit with it and I'll let you know again at the end of the video what I give it, but I think right now it's hitting a 4 stars for me. The storyline was really great. It mixed in some like historical fiction into it. I liked the horror elements. It got me like scared. It was definitely spooky. I loved how it really felt like a thriller and it had me turning the page after page and needing to know what was going on and what was happening. The multiple POVs made it really interesting, and I like how everything ended up tying back together. And even like kind of like when you thought there was going to be a twist, there wasn't a twist. When you didn't think there was going to be a twist, there was a twist. And I just think that it worked out really well. And there's something about the end that, although this is like a thriller horror story, is very cozy and sweet and comforting. And like, you know, when you watch a scary movie or a horror or a thriller movie and then it like all ties up and you think to yourself like, yeah, that's actually like kind of a great, like, it's like a good ending. Like, I enjoyed, it just feels like all the knots are tied, the story is ended, the story is all tied up. I really enjoyed it. So now the question is, do I read A Certain Hunger? Do I read Cackle? Do I read Escape and Control? So I have Cackle and A Certain Hunger on from Libby, and I have them on my Kindle. I would have to buy Control and Escape, and then the last one I own. So I think I'm gonna start with Cackle because I'm feeling like I'm in a cozy mystery mood. Cozy mystery, I keep saying that. I feel like I'm in a cozy horror mood after this like slightly kind of scary story, but maybe I'll read like the first chapter of multiple and then decide, or maybe I'll read 2 at once just because it's kind of nice to have like a cozy story and then also like a scary story happening at the same time. Okay, so I'm going on a walk with Scout. He's down there. So I'm gonna listen to my audiobook of Cackle because it's like super rainy outside, if you couldn't tell. This is like, I need to figure out how to get this to like lay flat. But yeah, I'm gonna listen to Cackle, something cozy, while it pours with rain and I just try and relax. So let's go for a walk. To talk about the next books that I am reading. Ignore Scout barking in the background. So first, I'm reading Cackle right now. I started reading this when I was going on walks with Scout because I figured it'd be an easy audiobook to listen to, and I have the audiobook from Libby, but I also have the like physical version downloaded on my Kindle. So I have started it. I'm only like 10% of the way through. But I wanted to talk about it because it's so cute. Like, thus far, I think I'm really going to like it. It's definitely more of a cozy vibe than like Simone St. James, like the Broken Girls. That was definitely more of a thriller horror vibe with some paranormal activity. This is giving cozy, spooky horror. So I am really liking it. Yes, I'm 23% of the way through Cackle and 47% of the way through Escape and Control. So both of them are going really well. I do really like them. Cackle is definitely the cozy horror book. It is very warm and it has so many great quotes. I actually sent some to my friend. These are from like the very beginning of the book, so they're not a spoiler, but this is the vibe of Rachel Harrison's writing. So here are some of my favorite quotes from the very beginning. The first one says, "I'm assuming by her horrified expression that she thinks 10 o'clock is early. I'm of a different opinion. 10 o'clock is bedtime." The next one is, "I brush my teeth and take 3 Advils instead of the recommended dose of 2 because I'm hard like that." And the last one is, "I've been driving around in silence like a serial killer because every song that comes on feels like a bad omen, either too sad or too optimistic." So there's just like a vibe to Rachel Harrison's writing that is so cozy and cute and also very like funny and silly. So I'm really loving that. I'm enjoying reading Cackle a lot. And maybe it's just because I'm at a time right now where I want just like soothing coziness in my like chaotic world because of like all the moving that's going on. So yeah, I just wanted to pop in and let you know how the story's going. I don't think I talked about what they're about, but let's start with Cackle. So Cackle is all about Annie. She just moved away from New York City after having a recent breakup, and she meets Sophie, who lives in this upstate New York, really cozy, picturesque town. And Sophie is a little kooky and a little weird, and also like the townspeople treat Sophie a little bit weird. And so we're getting into the story of like their blooming friendship and also probably some witchy vibes because Cackle. Annie is a very funny, comical character who is going through a really rough time right now, but the whole town is extremely picturesque. And then you've got Escape and Control. This book is extremely confusing and I don't even really know how to describe it, but basically it's like a story within a story within a story. So it is about the author, Steve Hollyman, but it's also about, so it's basically about this, it's a book about a person who wrote a book. And that person who wrote a book, very early on you learn that their manuscript was stolen from their house and they had only written it in like a typewriter, so they didn't have any files of the story. So they have lost this manuscript for many years. They think they'll never see it again. And then suddenly someone messages them and says, hey, I found your manuscript in my like junk that I was going to donate. And I didn't steal it, but like I thought you might want it back, kind of deal. And you then learn that someone else has actually taken the manuscript and written chapters that coincide with the manuscript that already existed. So it's like someone has like buddy written with this manuscript. And then the author and the person who reunited the author and the manuscript decide that they are actually going to read and then create footnotes as the story goes on. But there's also this like thriller horror element within it of bad things happening. So you feel like it's not just a story, like something, like all of these things in the manuscript have actually played out in real life. So that's kind of where I'm at with trying to figure it out. So I officially finished Cackle. There she is. And I had so much fun reading this book. It was very atmospheric and like gave cozy vibes, which I think I was just really in the mood for after reading more of a thriller book. So I gave it 4 stars. I am thrilled that I really enjoyed it. And this is the second Rachel Harrison book that I have read and like really liked. I think I gave Such Sharp Teeth 3 stars and this one 4. But I would say that like my favorite thing about her books is the themes that she kind of like brings into her books. It's more than just a cozy read. It's not just like, oh, this is an atmospheric cozy read. about witches or about werewolves or whatever it is. Her books always have something more to them about, honestly, so far, like the experience of being a woman. Cackle really concentrated on women kind of like dimming their own shine for others, not just like men and the men that they love or want to be with, but also with everyone, and like how they inherently kind of end up being these people pleasers who make themselves smaller in order to fit in a world that doesn't want women to be larger than life. So that is something that I love about Rachel Harrison's writing, is the fact that she's always got a bigger message to send us when we're reading her books. And I loved Cackle. I loved the cover. I like can't show it directly to you because of the light. So pretty. So yeah, I highlighted a lot of little quotes. I loved the vibe. Definitely great for cozy season. So the next book I'm reading is Escape and Control by Steve Hollyman. And this book is like the 180 completely different from Cackle, because Cackle's cozy vibes and this is like found footage, like thriller, I don't even know where we're going vibes. So I am literally 50% of the way through. I am 50% of the way through this book. It is very interesting the way that it's written. It is basically a book that has footnotes in it as if the author is leaving notes with someone else about what's going on in the story. So there's the story of the manuscript, then you're reading the manuscript, and as you're reading the manuscript, you are also reading the footnotes that the author and the guy who found the manuscript are leaving in the manuscript. So it's like a story within a story that they're commenting on. So it's very interesting, but it is a little bit complicated and a little bit like mind-boggling. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I think that it's gonna have like a really crazy like twist ending that like just completely blows my mind. But one of the craziest parts about this book is that at the end of every chapter where the footnotes are located, the author and his acquaintance who has sent him the manuscript, that discovered the manuscript, talk about how there are real Facebook pages that are related to the book. And you're like, oh, okay, so like in their world, in their universe, there are Facebook pages that coincide with the writing of the companion chapters. If you go and put those links in your computer, like because I'm reading on Kindle, I can just click the links and go there. There are real Facebook pages that someone has set up in our world that actually exist with like posts and comments from this like companion novel with like the characters that are in the novel posting and commenting, and it coincides with the story in the book. It is absolutely mind-boggling and like really intriguing to me because of the way that the author went about writing this whole story and like really put so much effort into not only the story itself but also bringing it to life for us. I don't want to spoil anything, and I know that that's kind of confusing, but I'm definitely enjoying it. It's just a little bit like all over the board for me, and so I'm trying to figure out whether it's like confusing to the point where it's taking away from the story, or whether it's going to have a wrap-up that's clear enough that I still enjoy it even though it is a bit of a confusing read. Control. I think I was calling this Control and Escape or like Control and Delete before, but yeah, it's Escape. It's Escape and Control by Steve Hollyman, and I am going to give this book 3 stars. I thought about it a lot and I finished it last night, and I did enjoy it, and it did really make me think. But the reason that I am only giving this 3 stars is because this is the kind of book that is a little bit more complicated, and I feel like this book specifically lends itself to being read 2 or 3 times over in order to fully grasp everything that is going on in the story. And I am just not interested enough in the storyline to read the book even one more time. Like, I enjoyed it the first time for what it was. I thought that it was very cleverly written. I think that it is very interesting. It's like a multimedia, multi-platform story. Not only does it take place in the pages, but it takes place in the footnotes. It has the author inserted into the story himself. It takes place on Facebook with like real pages that people have created. Specifically, I think Steve created them, Steve Hollyman, in order to bring the story to life in a completely different way. And that is extremely cool. I think that I have a lot of appreciation and respect for how cool that is. But as for the storyline, reading it one time through was enough for me, but I still feel like I'm missing some key little pieces. Things things that were mentioned that I'm I know that this is important, but I don't specifically know why. And I'm just unwilling to go back and read it over again to do the research to find out why. Okay, so we are back. So I just wanted to do a little consensus of the books that Mary suggested to me, the ones that I read, and what I thought of them. So the first book I read in this video was The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. I gave that book 4 stars. It was a really, really good book. It made me think. I still think about the characters today. It was thrilling, and there was a little bit of a ghosty horror aspect. There were also twists that I didn't see coming that I really enjoyed. The ending really tied everything together, and really, I loved it. So overall, yes, that was a 4-star book. I am hype about it. I really, really liked it. And I do love a good thriller, but I don't usually dip my toes into a horror thriller. So I'm really, really glad that I got to try Simone St. James, because she's definitely someone who I would read more books by her. The next book I read is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This is more of a cozy horror book, and this book honestly gets 4.25, 4.5 stars from me. I loved it. I have read one other book by Rachel Harrison, Such Sharp Teeth, and I did really enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. But the thing that brought this book to the next level compared to that one is the coziness was just beyond belief. The characters were so fun to follow. I don't know how to describe it, but the vibes just really hit, and it was really lovely to read. So I really enjoyed it. I was in the mood for more of a cozy read after reading the thriller, and it just really it did it for me. It did it for me. So I'm a big fan of Rachel Harrison. I would love to read more books by her, and she's an author that I would definitely recommend, especially if you like these monster horror cozy-esque books that also talk about women and the things that we go through. They kind of cover different topics. And the last book I read is Escape and Control by Steve Hollyman. This was a book that I don't think I would have picked up without Mary's suggestion, but I knew that she really liked it. I mean, she really liked all of these, but I was really excited to see what this one was all about because the storyline and the description is very intriguing. I ended up giving this book a 3 stars, mainly because it was very complicated, and I'm not against a complicated book because I love a complicated book. It actually reminded me a bit of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, where it's a little bit confusing and you feel like you kind of have to go back and figure out what's going on. But I didn't love the storyline enough to want to reread or go back, and I think that's where it fell short for me. And so yeah, this one's a 3-star for me. Still a great book. Would definitely suggest it if you're into meta horror and you're interested in the ways that social media influences people's lives. Those were the 3 books that Mary suggested to me, so definitely go check out her video of her reactions to my books. And before we go, I am going to react to the what she rated my books, because I have no idea. I have an idea of which ones she liked and didn't like, and I also had a feeling when I sent them to her, I was like, oh, I don't know if she's gonna like this. I think she'll like this. So let me watch her video and react to her ratings. I'm nervous but excited. I'm not gonna take anything personally, so let's
All right,
watch.
Becca, so here are my 60-second reviews for the 3 books that you gave me. And before I start, please do not get mad at my last review in this video, but
I already know what it
yes,
is.
please, thank you. All right, so Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I rated this a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this book. I had a blast. It really took me off my reading slump. It was an amazing sports fiction book. I loved the romance in it. I had an amazing time. Like, thank you for making me read this book because it was amazing. I mean, I gave you some reactions while I was reading the book, you know, and I think you can imagine that I enjoyed this book, but honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. It's not a 5 out of 5 because I feel like it's missing something. Like, it didn't give enough depth in the characters, the story, and I felt like it was very much one dimension, like the tennis and some romance, but you know, I feel like it could have had a bit more, but it restored my faith in Taylor Jenkins Reid, because Malibu Rising was not it, and this really wanted me, like, this restored my faith. Like, now I'm okay with reading more Taylor Jenkins Reid. Like, I really enjoyed it, so thank you so much for this recommendation. And 4.5 out of 5. I started the vlog very strong. All right, A Far Wilder Magic by Alison. I still cannot remember her name, I'm sorry. I had more issues with this one. I rated this a 3 out of 5.
That's better than I
enjoyed
thought
it. I had fun with it. It was not a hard read. It was very like, it's funny because I think you said it was slow paced, and I do agree that it was slow paced, but it was actually fast paced for me. Like, I feel like the way the story unfolds really works well, so that was good. But it's true that the action in the book happens in the last 20%. So I do agree with you on the whole like slow paced thingy. My main issue with the book is that it was not out there. Like, it really felt like a YA fantasy story where like girl meets boy, both of them are talented, but everyone thinks that they're gonna lose and that they're never gonna succeed, and they participate in this big like challenge, and against all odds they win. So in that sense it felt very like YA basic, but everything around it was like very beautifully written, and I kind of enjoyed the romance. Like, I was very invested in it, so it was very good. But the main reason I gave this a 3 out of 5, it's because it really reminded me of one of my favorite pieces of manga and anime, Full Metal Alchemist. It kind of felt like a fanfic of 2 characters in that anime, and while there's nothing wrong with that, it just took me out a bit of the story. And I don't know, I wish my brain did not make that connection, and I wish I could have just enjoyed it without making that connection, because I kept thinking about Full Metal Alchemist and then I was a bit taken out of the story. But I still had fun, I still enjoyed it, and it still continued to take me out of my reading slump. Like, you know, it was very good. And I think it's a book that I would not have read otherwise if it had not been for this challenge. And I thank you for it, because it was still a good book and I still enjoyed, and I had a lot of fun reading it. So thank you for that. And now we reached the last one. And that's the one I said I'm really sorry, because The Murder of Roger Ackroyd was not it for me. I really did not enjoy it. I felt the writing was very old style, which, granted, it's an old book, but I didn't vibe with the pompous writing, and I figured out who did it very early on. I didn't care about the fact that Roger was murdered, and I didn't care about the fact that any other character could be the killer of Roger. I didn't care about the characters, so it took me a bit out of the story, because I'm a very character-driven type of person. So if I don't care about the characters, I don't care about the story. For instance, A Far Wilder Magic, I didn't really care about the story because it reminded me a lot of Full Metal Alchemist, but I loved the characters. Like I really was vibing with the characters, so it really made me have a good experience. Whereas here, I cared about like who did it in a way, but since I didn't care about Roger or any other characters, I was like, who cares, you know? So I'm really sorry because I know you said that this was a favorite book of yours, but it didn't work for me, and I'm sorry. I gave this a 2 out of 5, and I think in my update I said that I would have DNF'd it, and I think I still stand by it, and I'm really sorry, and it hurts me to say this because I hate it, but still, I read it. It's my first Agatha Christie, and I'm happy that I can say now that I've read an Agatha Christie book, so thank you for that. And overall, I just want to say thank you for this challenge. It was very fun to read books out of my comfort zone, to read books that I don't think I would have read otherwise, and it was very fun, so thank you. That's my quick review of each book that you made me read, so thank you again.
Okay, awesome. I totally get where Mary was coming from with all of her reviews and thoughts. And I am so glad that we did this as well. So like I said, if you want to go check out Mary's video where she reads the books that I gave her and you want to see the whole thing, then go check that out on her channel. I'll leave it linked down below. Okay, apologies because my camera overheated and then shut off. I just wanted to say thank you to Mary from Books with Tokukado for agreeing to collab with me and make this video. It was literally so much fun. It was really fun to get out of my reading comfort zone and try new things and dip my toe into the horror genre. I also learned that there are so many different types of horror books and that like you can really pick and choose what kind of horror you enjoy. If you're interested in horror and you just love reading in general, then definitely go check out Mary's channel because she's so much fun to watch. It's a great time, and I just love hearing her thoughts on the books that she reads and the ones that she wants to read. I always add them to my Goodreads, to my TBR. This video was so much fun, so thank you again, Mary. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, all those YouTube things, and I will see you guys next time with another video. I love you guys. Bye!